Hello, folks, and welcome back to another Hobby Saturday. And this week I'm painting Lords of Ragnarok, or I'm continuing to paint Lords of Ragnarok. So I've passed through the stage of kind of the DIY sun drop. Well, not completely. I still had the other big monuments to do. I expected to do them this week, but I decided to just put that aside and kind of focus on the heroes. I didn't expect to finish all of them this week, but it seems I have. So I didn't have a lot of time this week, and I even mused about continuing the sun drop effect onto the heroes and stuff, but they actually do have some discernible details. Not that the troops didn't. They all could have looked really nice individually painted up, I think. But the heroes felt like they needed like a little bit of a next level. So one thing I tend to do when I'm painting something, especially if the artwork is kind of it's difficult to discern what the things actually look like. This artwork is great, but it doesn't show me kind of real world what color things are or what uh, just because this guy has this glowing green all around him and stuff. He's not green necessarily, but that light is green. So sometimes when you're trying to translate that into painting the miniatures and stuff, it can be tough, and you just sort of make a judgment call, especially in a game like this where they haven't really provided with a lot of that they have a service where you could get these painted. I can't remember how much it costs. It was quite a lot though, and there's like just two. I think there's two or three models where they have examples of what they might look like painted. And so, but that was really the only painted models I saw around. There might be some more now since after I've begun. But once I start, I just kind of find my own way. So I guess on some of the colors, I've guessed on what I and just or just aesthetically chosen things that I like. There's a couple of them I went a little further than I meant to, but decided it still looked pretty cool. The theme for this game is sort of Cybertron meets the Vikings. And so everybody's like a lot of mechanized stuff, almost like manga style armor and things like that. What's funny is I don't know a lot of the lore around Viking stuff. Like I'm not as educated on Viking stuff as I could be. So I don't get what some of the significance is, and I'm curious, like if I learn more about Viking culture, if I'll understand like what this dude is. Snorri, the Scalad. He sort of looks like a bard, like he's got a musical instrument, but it doesn't actually look much like a musical instrument, so it's hard to tell exactly what's going on. I think I leaned a little bit too heavy into like the Santa Claus color scheme too with this guy. I'm not sure what got into me on that one, but yeah, Scalad there. Let's see. I could have put these in order. That would have been better. Next, we got Ragnar, and then painted one of the contrast paint colors on top. For most of these, I'm still using contrast and speed paints. I'll mix in other pigments and stuff of peg paint, regular acrylic paint too, as it goes. But I do a mixture of Games Workshop and Army Painter paints. But yeah, old Ragnar, he got a nice coat of metal paint, and then the blue was just painted over it, and it gives it this really interesting effect of kind of like a tinted metal effect. Next, we have the Shield Maiden. She was her armor almost looked black on here, and I went with sort of a dark gray color for it, just to kind of give it some pigment. I wasn't super happy with my fire effect, and I'm probably going to go back and touch it. Like I don't mind the sword. I think the sword's okay, but I wanted the shield to be much more fiery and stuff. But there wasn't anything to kind of depict fire on here. It would have to just be a glow, and I'm really bad at like portraying glows and stuff. So I'm hoping to. I'm probably going to come back to this one and look at it a little bit more. But I was pretty happy with everything else and decided to call her done for the sake of this project. Next we have the Valkyrie. I think she was probably one of my favorites, one of the more straightforward ones. Again, I totally guessed on the color scheme and stuff for her outfit because in her artwork here she's mostly in shadow. I could see that it was sort of a light color and like she might have white hair and stuff and sort of Got an idea for what color the sword would be glowing as, with that kind of weird pink color that I don't use a lot. But I thought that she came out pretty clean and pretty interesting. Her face was a little melty. Like, she didn't have, I don't think she had a mouth at all. She didn't have much definition in the actual model. I'm not sure if it's that or if my paint layers got a little too thick right there, but she didn't have much of a mouth, but I really love the model overall. Next up, we have the Sorceress, and she is, well, she doesn't look anything like her artwork. Her artwork looks like she's wearing kind of a sexy negligee, and then on the model, it kind of looked like she had some kind of techno skin coating or something like that. So I decided to paint her as if she's wearing like a still suit from Dune. I kind of did that, except for her arms, where her arms are kind of exposed and a little piece of her chin, and then she's also got a combination of kind of red armor and some red banners and scarves and things as she holds this skull with the glowing blue eyes. So I like the model, and I like the artwork on here, but they're not the same. And that doesn't even bother me, but it did make it kind of interesting when I went to paint it. Especially with because this one's got almost like a blast shield kind of helmet on, and this one, and then in the artwork, it's more like she's just got a blindfold. So it's quite a bit different. Next up, we have the Archer. The Archer was, I thought overall it was kind of a neat model. The way the arrows look is not my favorite. Not my favorite portrayal of an archer. I don't really understand what's going on there with the arrows. It doesn't look like it's really using this thing that he's holding to. He's like holding it really low. So I don't think this translated too well from the artwork to here. And I didn't spend a bunch of time on him or anything. So this would be kind of a great example of maybe you come across one that you're not super excited about, but you want to do it for a sense of completion, if nothing else. Just in case somebody wants to play him. He probably plays just fine. I just didn't like the model that much. But you could take that whole quick wash concept and just kind of make it to like 2 or 3 colors. So he's mostly metal. It looks like they're all wearing armor. And a lot of them, I started painting metal all the way down through there. And I was like, oh man, they're all going to look the same. But and that's when I decided to kind of tint them a little bit, like I did with the Chieftain Ragnar. I did that with the gray metal too, with the Shield Maiden, and also with and things like this musical instrument that Santa Claus is holding. The other thing I did with all the metal that you see, all the stuff that looks, especially like his body and stuff, it had a Nuln oil wash too. Anytime I paint metal, I'm going to put that oil on it, because it basically is just an ink wash, and it tones it down and makes it look very realistic. I like it. You can see it a whole lot with the next character, Beowulf, who is mostly armor. I went ahead and left him mostly as armor, and I just kind of decorated it a little bit. This one I added a little bit of a pink color, so in the artwork he's got sort of these, sort of a red glow, or almost like a pinkish glow light coming out, and I don't see the areas that depicted on here necessarily. So there's a lot of details on this that I kind of guessed on. I was tempted to paint the claw on the back as if it was a big lizard hand. It almost looks more like a lizard hand, but it looked like it could be fur too, so I went ahead and gave it kind of a furry look to the claw. And like I said, I added some details, like a little bit of pink color into it. I think I sort of went back over it and painted more metal on top of most of it, because I got to where it was a little distracting, like that weird hot pink color. But I've left that, like some of the runes glowing that way on him a little bit. Something else on this I liked is that he's got a tail. And I thought that was kind of neat. Like, I didn't even notice when he was plastic that there was a tail on there. But then when I went to paint it, of course I noticed it then. The last thing I have here is Aslag, the vulva. Is that what that says? This one was really interesting too, and it's got more, this had more of a dynamic base than the other ones also, with the ring of fire and stuff like that, and that's always fun to paint. I also got a chance to try out the Speed Paint 2.0 for the metallics, and that's what I did the gold For all of these, I used that same gold, but you can see it a lot in this one's like face guard. It's got kind of some sort of gold chainmail going over their face. Also decided to go with the red armor. I'm not certain if that's just the lighting or what's going on in the artwork and stuff, but it just kind of felt right, kind of like it went with the fire and stuff. So I went with that. None of these armies have a particular color coding, although it kind of almost seems like they were going for that theme with some of these things, just by the artwork. Once you pick your army color, you're going to put a little silicone band on the bottom of this that kind of indicates that it's part of your team. So there was no real color scheme that I had to stick to this. It was just for fun. So up next are the monsters. I'm going to give them the same treatment I gave these, just kind of like the quick wash plus. Maybe add just a couple of more colors and stuff, and take it up just a couple of more levels. I'm doing my best with these not to overly obsess with them. I'm not cleaning them. I'm not doing anything like that. I get a quick rattle can of primer, and then I'm just going to paint them up and see how they look. I've had a lot of fun exploring this game and painting the miniatures from it. Even the ones I didn't like very much, painted up really quick. I was excited to have all the heroes done inside of just a couple of sessions. I'll be back with more of that stuff, and to guarantee that you catch it every time, go ahead and subscribe. I'd love to see you again. I got more videos like this where I'd show off my paint jobs and overhear something that YouTube thinks you're like, and boy, I'm as surprised as you are. Until next time, enjoy your games, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.